One of the highlights announced during Identity V's 6th Chinese birthday celebration is the return of the Junji Ito Crossover. Widely esteemed by players, this crossover is recognized as one of the game's best. Its popularity is evident in the fact that it has been divided into 3 phases previously, with this upcoming release marking the 4th installment. While the Junji Ito crossover has generated excitement among players, it hasn't been without its criticisms. Some players have expressed dissatisfaction with the crossover for a variety of reasons. So, what exactly should we understand about the Junji Ito crossover? While some people may already be aware of this fact, it's worth emphasizing that the Junji Ito crossover marks Identity V's first collaboration of its kind. As a result, it introduces a horror theme, a departure from the somewhat cute themes seen in recent collaborations. Junji Ito is a renowned Japanese manga artist celebrated for his horror-themed works. Among his notable creations are Shuichi's Convenient Curse, Lovesickness, and Tomie, all serving as the inspiration for the crossover. The Junji Ito crossover has been divided into 3 phases thus far, with a 4th phase upcoming. The initial phase began in December 2018 and lasted for 2 weeks, featuring the release of the Lucky Guy skin Shuichi, the Wu Chang skin, the intersection Bishonen, and the accessory Voodoo Doll. For reference, you can view images and short clips of these items. The second phase occurred in May 2019 and also lasted for 2 weeks. During this phase, players were offered the Straw Eyeball accessory and the A-tier skin, the Painted Girls, for Dream Witch. However, the Dream Witch skin gained significant attention on the internet due to specific details, which I'll explain later. For now, you can refer to the clips and pictures provided. In July 2019, the Junji Ito crossover entered its 3rd phase, lasting 2 weeks like the previous ones. During this phase, players had the opportunity to obtain the A-tier skin for the Dream Witch, named Kawakami Tomie, as well as a pet called Jean Pierre. Additionally, the Straw Eyeball accessory from the previous phases was also available again. For more details, you can refer to the provided clips and pictures. In the crossover's return, all skins are set to make a comeback except for the Painted Girl. And there's a specific reason for that. The story dates back quite a bit. When The Painted Girl was initially released, it was exclusively available on the global server. It wasn't made available on the Chinese server due to being deemed too gory and scary for release there. Well, as you might be aware, Chinese censorship on video games tends to be quite strict, which resulted in the skin failing to pass its censorship checks. A similar situation occurred 3 years later with the BSD crossover, leading to the cancellation of the Doctor skin, Akiko Yosano, and the novelist skin, Doppoku Nikita. Still, if the skin is only banned in China, why doesn't NetEase simply release it on the global server? Well, as of now, there hasn't been an official statement explaining the reason. All we have is the confirmation that only the aforementioned skins will be making a return. However, there's a prevailing belief that it would be disappointing for players on the Chinese server if the skin were to return exclusively for the global server only. This naturally stirred up a reaction among some players who now desire the painted girl skin more than ever. Some argue that if the Chinese server has access to an exclusive skin, then why shouldn't the global server enjoy the same privilege? Others express concern, suggesting that the skin should be released to honor Junji Ito's work itself. Another aspect that has many players upset about this crossover is the decision to bring it back. To grasp this, let's first revisit the original crossover itself. When this crossover was initially announced, NetEase made it clear that the skins would only be available during the event. In other words, all the skins returning in these subsequent crossovers were meant to be limited. You can verify this information by referring to these provided materials. Before I proceed, I want to clarify that I personally don't mind the crossover returning in 2024. In fact, I'm quite pleased about it, even though I probably won't acquire any of the crossover skins since I don't main all those characters. However, there are certain individuals who are likely to express frustration over the return of the limited skins. Who are they? Account sellers. The Junji Ito crossovers were believed not to make a return. This was backed by a prevalent theory suggesting that Junji Ito himself was displeased with how NetEase incorporated his works into the game, particularly with the painted girl skin. Despite Junji Ito denying these claims on his Twitter account, the theory had already spread rapidly. Believing that the crossover wouldn't return, the supposedly limited Junji Ito crossover skins became a luxury item. Some hardcore players went to the extent of purchasing second-hand game accounts with these crossover skins. This caused the prices for accounts containing Junji Ito skins to skyrocket, with accounts having the Tomie Kawakami skin being sold for as much as 500 or more, depending on the collection they have. Now, with NetEase deciding to bring back the supposedly limited skins, the value of accounts containing Tomie Kawakami or any specific Junji Ito skins will likely drop. While some people are thrilled about the skins making a comeback, these account sellers would naturally be disappointed. The value of their accounts would plummet significantly. However, in my opinion, purchasing a second-hand account is not advisable. I'm unsure whether it's permitted or not, but personally, I wouldn't buy a second-hand account if given the opportunity. Now, not only players from the global servers, but also some from the Chinese server have voiced their complaints. This can be observed on the Identity V Weibo account, where individuals express their dissatisfaction with the crossover because they won't have the exclusive limited skins anymore. While some may view these comments as mere complaints, let's recall the Wick incident from December 2023. At that time, the design of Wick, the postman dog, was altered due to an uproar from many players, including some from the Chinese server. They complained that Wick's breed should remain as a bulldog instead of being changed to a Pomeranian. Consequently, NetEase reverted Wick's design back to that of a bulldog. Now, the question arises, could the uproar potentially lead to the cancellation of this crossover? While there's a very slim chance of that happening, I sincerely hope it won't be the case. After all, many players are already thrilled about the crossover's return. Canceling it would likely result in another uproar, and could even lead some players to quit the game. Well, I believe NetEase has likely carefully planned their approach to the crossover, so the chance of it being cancelled seems slim. At least, I hope so. Lastly, the Junji Ito crossover will make its return on April 3, 2024. Currently, there is no information on the event's duration, but based on the previous crossovers lasting for 2 weeks, we can expect this one to follow suit. For those concerned about their wallets, there's good news. The information indicates that the skins in this crossover period will be available for purchase using both fragments and echoes. In addition to the Junji Ito crossover, there are plenty of other items available, such as the Little Nightmare crossover, which I discussed earlier, as well as crossovers featuring Arnold and Puppet, Lawson, and many others. I might cover them at a later time. If you have any questions or opinions on these topics, feel free to share them in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always.